Hello all and welcome to Chronicle Thread. We post our podcast every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so be on the lookout. Thanks for watching and happy writing!
Well, hello again. Welcome to another podcast of Chronicle Thread. I'm Shawn Stanley.
And I'm Ethan Stanley.
Tonight we are going to discuss things about plots and antagonists and what their role is in the stories. Ethan, I'll let you kind of introduce more.
Okay. So, in the book Lies that we've been talking about a lot on the podcast, and I've been writing, I came to the problem of what is my main antagonist doing during the first arc of the story. Now the main antagonist is going to actually be around the protagonist for the majority of the first arc, going under a different name and a different identity, but he's there nonetheless, and he has goals that lightly involve her, but not too heavily, until the end of the first act. And so I was just talking to Shawn about this in general, and then he asked, okay, what is he doing? What is he waiting for? And I thought, oh freak, yeah, what is he waiting for?
And see, to me, you need to introduce a antagonist in the beginning chapters, not maybe per name, but maybe a group of people or some type of
they should be known.
Yeah. So I mean, if the antagonist is going to be, let's say, a wizard or a sorcerer or something, then we need to start talking about how there's been wizards that have done really terrible things, and just kind of introducing the reader
the idea to them.
Right. So that's early on. They know what type of people or group or type of person they need to look for the antagonist. So when they see them or read about them, they know exactly who they are.
This is the bad guy. All right.
Right. But then you get to the point of what are they doing once they know what to look for.
Yeah.
And then
or if the antagonist is not strictly a person, but if it's like an inner demon, or if it's a just a main struggle of the book, whatever the main conflict should be somewhat apparent early on.
Yeah, just so you can kind of understand. So, not to get off the point, but in my book Lost Lake, in the first chapter, I start talking about this business owner and how he's this money-grabbing business owner, and those types of terms kind of put a bad taste in people's mouth about that person. So when he comes on the stage, I can make sure that everybody goes, yeah, he is. He's a terrible person. Mm-hmm. But they know who to look for. So, but going back to your antagonist.
Yeah, so his goal is basically to go steal the king's magical sword and kill him with it. Kill the king with his own sword. And he gets close to the capital city by answering the same draft that Daria gets pulled into. And he gets put into the same fort that Daria does. In fact, they actually are on the same wagon. But he's going under a different name. And anybody that would know him hasn't seen him in almost 20 years. So he's going under a different name. He's trying to lay low, and I kind of had these ideas of like during training and stuff, he would Dario might see that he could be doing better, that he's really good at what he does, but he's deciding to pull his punches and like, but what is Warren's goal? His goals aren't just to come here, hang out for a few months, and then enact his plan. Why doesn't he get to the fort and then immediately go to the castle and try this? So what is he doing the whole time? What is he waiting for?
And see, I would like, as a reader, to know early on that, I mean, you could just mention, yeah, the king has increased his guards around the castle because there have been some rumors that his life may be threatened. And you just leave it at that, and like, why would anyone want to kill King Kethel? And it's just kind of a weird thing. But
one, he's a hero to the people, and two, he's almost dying anyway.
And so the reader's like, yeah, whoever's trying to do that's probably a bad person and wants to take over or something. But at least the reader knows early on that, hey, that there's some threat there that's not real known yet. But then early on, they know what to look for. So when Warren starts acting weird and things, people can start connecting the dots and go, is it Warren? Is he the guy?
It could happen.
And having him sneak off at different times or hiding things, doing weird things that are a little bit off and getting caught in, like coming back and his feet are all muddy. And why is your feet all muddy? Where did you go? And making up some lame excuse. And he's like, that doesn't make any sense. So the reader's like, something's up with this guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we need to know what he's doing.
Well,
we need to know
I need to know what he's doing.
But he needs to be doing something.
Yeah. Like this is not for, this podcast is not for the reader. It's for the writer. So he knows what the villain's doing, so the reader doesn't finish the book and say, wow, that was good. But what the freak was he doing the whole time? Why didn't he just do that way earlier? Why was he waiting? So it actually makes sense. Because I could just have him be around the fort. I could just have him do, pull his punches and, all that stuff. And then, boom, it happens. Like, I could do that. And maybe no one would really argue. But a lot of people might read that and be like, no, that doesn't, what was he doing?
What would be interesting if he is like waiting, if he's been around there and he's with the recruits and acting like he's training, even though he doesn't need any training. What if he is searching for someone else that he needs or wants to connect with before he does this? Maybe there's some unfinished business he has with somebody or something that he's got to get done or bring with him to kill the king. And that could be Lorenzo, Daria's father. It could be...
He's 2 days travel away.
So he's waiting for something.
Yeah, he's. I mean, if he was just sneaking off, he was gathering information.
Casing
the castle. He was getting guard patrol times and stuff like that. Could be possible, but then his wait time would probably be only a week before things happened.
How long is this going to be? A month?
I honestly haven't figured out the exact timetable of how long everything is going to be. Well, but they're about to go into winter. It's fall.
Okay.
When it starts.
Remember the fulcrum.
Yeah. So, me and Shawn have discussed a little bit. There's this object called the fulcrum. Well, there's multiples of these, but they're very rare. That gets passed to Daria early on. She has no idea what it is, but Warren needs it. And it is passed to her secretly. Warren may suspect that she has it, but he doesn't know and never sees it.
But he wants it.
Yes, he needs it.
He needs it in the effort to kill the king. So he doesn't know where it is, and he can't move forward with his plan until he has it.
I mean, he could move forward without it, but it would just be dangerous. I mean, it's needed for his last stage of his whole plan, not for killing the king. He doesn't need it to kill the king, but he needs it. So one thing that the fulcrum can do, if someone willingly gives up their soul, willingly gives up their life, they can put their spirit into the fulcrum. Then when someone is holding the fulcrum and they die, they have a good chance to come back to life. It's not guaranteed, as they have to make their way back to their body without being caught by the entity that ferries souls over to the next life. But they have a good chance. Warren needs this because in the final stages of his plan, he's going to kill himself. But he needs to kill himself or this is actually something that I came up with today of trying to figure out things. One good reason for him to want the fulcrum is if he was going to kill himself in order to activate some magic, then he could come back and still have killed himself.
All right, and then maybe he has a distraction, and then able to kill the king if everyone but thinks he's dead, or you think about killing the king and then killing himself?
Oh, he would definitely finish off everyone else before himself.
Okay, all right. So I was just misunderstanding.
He would not be the first one. He would make sure that the king is dead, that Daria is dead, and then he would kill himself.
So at this time when he's at the fort, he's searching for this thing, and now he would be, during this whole time, if he suspects Daria has it,
he'd probably rifle through her stuff.
He's going to be rifling through her stuff. He's going to be watching her. Now, this fulcrum is usually on a necklace.
The one that Daria gets is on a necklace.
Right.
And it's not big. It's I mean, I imagine it no bigger than a silver dollar.
Okay. So she can have it under her clothes, basically unseen. You don't see it.
Yeah.
He might be caught looking at her undressing, and you think, oh, this guy's a peeping Tom or something, but he's just trying to see if she has it. He could be rifling through her stuff. You know, what do you do? Oh, this isn't my tent. What? I thought it was kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of lame, but
no, it could be something like that.
But those are types of things that I think.
I mean, it's possible to just have him be casing out the castle while trying to figure out where the fulcrum went, because he almost had it when it gets past to Daria, and then the person who did have it, doesn't have it. They die, obviously, and he realizes that wait, they don't have it anymore. He doesn't see it get past to Daria, but she was with the person when they died, obviously, and so he suspects her. It could be just him not acting because he wants the fulcrum first, and he's casing out the castle, so he's like, might as well just wait. But at some point, I want Warren to realize that she has the fulcrum right before she passes, right before she falls out of his reach and dies, in a place where he can't go and retrieve her, falls off a cliff or something. And so
which brings up a whole new cool thing that we had talked about earlier. I don't want to digress, but I thought this would be a good thing to add when we're talking about the fulcrum. So the fulcrum, because it has powers of a soul, it may have the power to show the person who's wearing it when or where they're going to die. Maybe not when, but where they're going to die, so they kind of see the last scene before they're going to die.
I totally forgot about this.
And so if Daria is tormented by these dreams of this place of where she's going to die, when she gets there, she remembers this is the place.
But she changes something about her outcome.
Right. And so it could be in her tormentation or tormenting in her dream that she goes to this cliff and she is pushed off and she's grabbing hold of Warren, and Warren sees the fulcrum, grabs it, yanks it off her. If she falls and she dies, that's what she sees in her dream.
Mm-hmm.
But she is able to change that.
At the time when it gets near, she starts remembering, deja vu kind of feelings, and she could take something probably, on hand could possibly be blood, and she just smears it on the necklace
to make it slippery.
Yeah, because in her dreams it was never bloody, but if she puts blood on it, like that's different. Like what make it slippery, and then when it happens, it could actually change.
Right.
Could change her fate.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a possible power of it.
Now the thing is the fulcrum's already charged because the person that gave it to Daria, he dies, and he charges the fulcrum with his soul.
Yeah. Although she has no idea what it is or what it can do.
Right.
She doesn't do magic.
But then she's tormented by this dream or scene of when she's going to die, or where she's going to die, and how.
I think that'd be a cool scene.
Foreshadowing.
Oh,
what to come.
Super heavy foreshadow.
Yeah, maybe just a little.
Maybe. But I mean, is there anything else that Warren could be? I mean, basically, if we go with what we talked about, that he is searching for the fulcrum and he's casing out the castle and he decides to just wait until he finds it, then basically what happens is that Warren eventually gives up trying to find it and just enacts his plan and goes after the king. Then everything gets put on his head. Daria runs, gets caught, and then he finds it on her right before she falls.
Well, it could be that Daria discovers not who he is, but what he's up to. That he's out of these people that were rumored to kill the king. The guy that she's been with is that guy that's trying to kill the king. And when Warren realizes that she knows what his plan is, she runs and he chases her, and that's when it gets to the point where he's like, I'm gonna have to kill you so you won't tell anyone what my plan is.
I guess it could play out that way. What I was wanting was Warren has a lot of these partners in crime who have also answered the draft to come into the same fort, and they all have a similar mark. Now, basically, Warren is a old-time assassin going after the king, but you need some more people. You can't have.
He's not working alone.
He's not working alone.
He's working in concert with some others that are enemies to the king.
Yeah.
So if they have the same mark, well, what if Daria?
And so when he goes and enacts his plan, it's going to be kind of like a Shield and Hydra thing. Like, don't know who you can trust. Everybody's a possible enemy. And I was thinking of Daria being able to get to the king and trying to get him out. And
so
running around and not trusting anybody except for possibly Jaffe, because they came from the same place and she's known her. She has known him for a long time and knows he doesn't have the mark, but anyone else is suspect. And so then maybe she actually gets the king out. She diverges Warren away, and then she falls to her death.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Warren just.
But so what he was doing, if he's working in concert with others, they're going to be getting together to plan secretly. They're not going to just not ever meet. They might have certain signs that they give each other.
Yeah.
There might be
secret. They would probably be waiting
so you know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows the handshake, well, then you know they're in your group. Or it could be the mark. Could be
they could be asking Warren what are we waiting for? Have you had time to case out the castle yet?
I mean, they could be there. He could have some diagrams with sticks and drawings and stuff, and Daria or someone could come by and they just wipe it clean and act like they're talking about
or they roll dice and we're gambling.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's possible. I feel like there should be something more,
Well,
though.
What if he was solo? What if he wasn't working in concert with anybody?
Well, then, I mean, like, Warren is incredibly skilled, but if he did do that, then there there wouldn't be any have to run away. She gets the king, says, I know who's coming to kill you, then everything goes on high alert. Every guard is searching for him, and Warren basically doesn't pose a threat. He can't, unless he just slips by all the. But then he just gets near the king. He's probably surrounded by guards and.
Okay, but Warren was an assassin, very skilled at being stealth. He probably knows.
And he
secret
would know.
ways,
He would know the
secret
castle.
hiding places. Knows the castle inside and out. If there was any secret passages, he would know about them.
Yeah, definitely.
And he might know more than what the guards do, so that he might have an advantage of how to slip in, hide, wait.
But then I have the question of after Daria dies and gets the king away or whatever, then during that, during the next arc, what is Warren doing the entire time? Is he just looking for them? The whole castle's like, Kingdom Come, we don't know where he is. Oh my goodness! But like, as soon as she gets the king, Warren, has to just run away. Why don't they just go right back to the castle? Be like, time to lock everything down.
And what's he gonna do then?
What's he gonna do then?
Well,
because the king would know that Warren knows the secret passages. He would start blocking them off or set guards next to them, and everything gets ruined. And then Warren poses no threat.
What he could be doing this whole time is planning his own secret way of getting in. That maybe even the king doesn't know. He's going through the sewer, or I'm just thinking of stuff that a normal person wouldn't think about.
Well, the sewer entrance would be like the first. You think assassins coming? The sewer entrance is the first place you would put a guard. And then the secret entrances, if you know they know it, that's when you put the guards there. Like, Kethel knows his castle, and he knows Warren. Yeah. If Warren isn't working with other people to take over key locations, then it is very easy for Daria to just get the king out, wait a little bit, and go right back. But if there's other people working with Warren, that everybody becomes suspect, and they can't trust anybody, and they can't run to the only place of safety.
Well, that creates a problem.
Yes.
I like the idea of him going rogue and being by himself and having there's some type.
Like, he's gonna do some awesome fiasco stuff on his own.
Yeah.
The people hired with him aren't hired. They aren't assassins. They're just gonna be the muscle, and they're gonna be able to take over the key locations and stuff.
So they'll definitely have to have a plan. They're going to need weapons. They're going to need distractions. They're going to need the correct time. Whether it be a change of a guard, whether it be something that happens, maybe they could stage a coup for killing the king, knowing that, this thing they're doing isn't going to work, but it's going to draw all the guards here, and while they're working to put that down, he's able to slip in.
It could do something like that. They would have patrol times and weapons and armor easily available. They're literally in a fort getting, quote unquote, trained.
Is with this fort that they're training on, would they have any special things like a catapult?
Or something. A fort might have a single catapult or trebuchet for training purposes and for defense purposes.
Back then, you would know more than me. How mobile are those?
Depends on if you're talking about a trebuchet or a catapult.
I don't know. I don't know the difference.
I believe a catapult is more mobile, but a trebuchet has far greater range, I believe.
How hard would it be to build one? I mean, would it take...
Very hard, because you need a whole lot of lumber. You need someone to design it. You need someone to build it. That means metal, that means springs, that means ropes and pulleys, and then it would be hard.
I know there's a lot of what ifs here. What if there was a catapult, or what was it? Trebuchet that was working, but another one was broken, and they're taking these parts and moving them to another place closer to the castle, using wagons or different things that are coming in for supplies. They're loading this stuff up, taking it away towards the castle, and or maybe they're saying, we'll just get rid of this stuff here, all this, clean this up, and they're rebuilding a trebuchet or a catapult closer to the castle, which is going to give them over the wall. A trebuchet, I think, is one of those things that just, you're not going to survive if you accept that, but a catapult done in a certain way could get you over a wall, couldn't it? Or get you on top of a wall?
I guess a catapult could send you over.
You need a place to land.
You would need a place to land, or else you'd splat. No matter how you do it, it's going to be trebuchet. It's a long arc and swing.
Yeah, you're not going to survive.
You would need like 10 meters of solid hay. Not solid, because solid would be solid, but just soft hay. Maybe that to slow you down. But yeah, catapult, if I guess if you landed in the right spot. But Warren's an assassin, he's not going to use a loud to send him over a wall. He's going to climb it.
But maybe he could use a loud sound for distraction. Maybe a trebuchet is what they use to throw something at the castle.
Even if it's not going to do anything, they just throw stuff just to bring people out, and then Warren.
Could be explosions, could be, they could use some gunpowder or some other things to have some explosions, but they're just doing it for a distraction. And bringing everything, we're going to break down the front door, the castle, we're going to go at a weak point or something. That's where they're focusing on, and that's where if someone's going to attack, they're going to attack here, and that's where they come, and everyone goes, oh my goodness, they're at that weak point, we're all going to go defend it, leaving other places vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's something they could be doing for a long time.
Yeah. So the hired people aren't just sitting around waiting for the time. They're all. I mean, the fort that they go to, by the way, is very, disheveled. It is not in good repair. Part of the training is just hard manual labor to help build muscle and endurance stuff of just repairing the fort. And so
cleaning it up.
So if there was two catapults or trebuchets, if they were both in disrepair, they could be slowly taking one piece from each of them and making them different pieces. Mm-hmm. And so in the end, they're able, like the fort's able to make one trebuchet out of whatever the quote-unquote, rubble, or just what the two fell into. They're just like, oh, this is what we were able to make with it. The other piece is rotted, I guess. It's been decades.
So they can't make a trebuchet, but they could make a small catapult. Maybe they
could do something like that. I was literally meaning there is two but broken.
So they
take this piece from this trebuchet, but not that same piece from the other one. And so they're able to basically salvage half of each and put them together in a different.
Yeah, that's true.
They could do something like that. Very tricky, but possible. I mean, anybody who's in charge of looking after things and repairing would probably be wondering, what happened to this thing, huh?
Well, it could be part of the cleaning things up is get rid of these things, or yeah, we need to get this wall. I mean, maybe some of the lumber could come from some lumber from the wall if they need other things that they need to repair.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't have to be if. Yeah, they could take some things from other repair projects, make this trash heap of a trebuchet that functions,
Yeah,
but it's purely a distraction
and that they don't need it to work perfectly. They just need it.
to be loud
To throw
and
some
throw
stuff.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's quite possible.
and if they could make some type of explosion with what they throw at it,
Could make a big.
yeah, and maybe it's not enough to blow the castle, but it could shake it some.
It's made of stone. Stone's pretty good at absorbing,
Yeah.
but yeah, it could definitely. Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things we could do, or you could do, while they're waiting and working out a plan. And you know what they're doing. The reader may know something's up, but not exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I could see them, hauling some stuff off, but then when the Daria eventually sees the trebuchet, that it's just pieced together from things that happen to be the right size, and like all the core components could be taken from the broken trebuchet.
Mm-hmm.
Any specific pulleys, any specific springs or anything like that. I believe it's all rope pulley power.
I don't think there's any springs in there.
Yeah, but anything like that could be salvaged from the broken pieces, and then everything else, could be salvaged from around, I guess.
Those are pretty amazing things. I've seen.
So complex, the wood structure and the ropes.
But
ship sails.
they throw cars with this thing. I mean, there's this long rope, and the thing goes, and then it just picks up the car with so much momentum.
And just,
yep, and it just throws a whole automobile. It's a pretty powerful thing. So maybe a trebuchet is too complex, but a catapult, is that too complex?
No, it would definitely be less complex, but it would pose less a threat.
I don't know. A lot to think about there.
Because, like, if you threw a trebuchet, you just built a trebuchet and threw it, like, but setting up a trebuchet would be hard too, because you need to stand things up and, like, unless they put them in a forest, which just happened to have the right space for a trebuchet to fire, so it doesn't hit anything. That's
just the right place. It just happens to
perfect
be there.
place. Just happens to be, and just building it in the right place. That'd be difficult in of its own.
Well,
but a catapult.
It would take a lot of planning.
Yeah.
To do that.
And if you just threw a trebuchet, like, you could definitely mobilize a lot of people. But if you had a little catapult, it was like, whee! And just throwing stuff against the walls or against the I mean, catapults are still powerful, but a trebuchet is much more.
Well, see, my idea was using something makeshift to get someone over a wall or deliver something to work with the plan. Maybe not to distract, but as a way of delivering weapons over the wall, people over the wall. If someone could sneak in and then the catapult this bag full of weapons over the wall and they can hide it once it gets over there. They can't bring weapons to the front door, but
I don't see Warren and a bunch of other would-be assassins going through the front door.
Well, no. I'm saying they sneak in. Someone sneaks in. You can't sneak everybody in. But let's say Warren sneaks in. He can't. They can be walking around with a bunch of swords and bows and arrows and stuff. But if they know a place that's not watched as well, and they can catapult a bag of weapons over the wall, and then Warren could be there and collect it and hide it. So when other people come in, they're not seen carrying weapons, but then they can get them from Warren. I don't know. That was just one idea.
It was possible just to count them out.
Yeah, that's true.
So just sending the stuff would be very...
Okay. I'm just thinking.
Well, I know you're thinking. I'm not saying for you to, shut up and be quiet. I'm just thinking. So I guess I should figure out what exactly what they want to do.
What if
take over and hold?
I mean, look at it this way. I know back then. I mean, the church was in medieval times.
Yeah,
there was a church.
This isn't England, but yeah.
Would they have some type of religion, or would they have some type of charity to help the poor? If Warren were to disguise himself as a lame person or someone with leprosy or something, would there be anyone near the castle that would come out and give things to them? Or
opens the door enough for him to slit a throat and move in. I'm
just trying to think of other disguises, something that he could slip in, disguise himself, or he could be hiding weapons on him. Maybe he could disguise himself as a hunchback and have a bow and arrow or something in his disguise, a big hood.
My hunchback isn't flesh and bone. No, it's 3 maces. It's a quiver of arrows. It's 2 arming swords and a shield.
There you go. That's a hunchback. Or let's say he just makes himself smell really bad, and no one wants to get by him as he just walks by and says alms for the poor, and it's like, oh, you stink. Get away. Just move on.
Guess it's possible. Lots of possibilities.
Ways that something he can be doing during this time. All the planning, all the moving stuff. But we got to think of something, a plan here that they got to be secretly doing. And is Daria going to be brought into this and act like she's going along with it and helping them, and then rush in and try to save the king, say, hey, this is what's happening? Or is she just going to not let on that she knows? Because she's going to be playing a dangerous part if she either does either a double agent type of thing, working for both sides, or she just decides, I'm going to go try to warn the king. If any of that group finds out that she's sympathetic to the king or may be able to warn the king, they would kill her.
Yeah.
So there can
be.
But
I guess if she stumbled upon something and they're like ready to kill her or something, if she learned some of their secrets, she could from then on kind of pose like, I want to join, and it's not a plan like I'm gonna get undercover, but more of like spur of the moment, try to save myself, and then she's like, crap, I'm locked in this now.
Yeah.
And then they never tell her exactly what their goal is. They just give her instructions, and then when she figures out their goal, it's like the day of the happening. Okay. And so I guess.
And think about this though. What if
I like that?
What if the old man before he gives her the fulcrum, before he dies, he says, "I want you to see this," and he draws a quick little design in the dirt and erases it. And that would be
The mark that they bear.
the mark that you have to show, so everyone knows that you're in the group, that you are able to be trusted. So when they catch her, maybe lurking around, and she goes, "Hey, it's okay. I'm with you, really." And well, what do you have to show us? What's the sign? And then she remembers, I wonder if that's it. And she makes this, and then, all right, she's okay. Then she's like, "Oh crap, I am locked in."
Yeah. Yeah, that could be.
It could be part of the mark that they have, tattooed on them or something.
I mean, I kind of like the idea
Hail
of
Hydra.
Hail Hydra. I kind of like the idea of the wizard showing her. However, I wanted her instance with him to be very brief.
And innocent.
Very innocent, very brief. Give her the fulcrum, quick instructions, keep it away from that guy. I'm gonna die now. And that's it.
Or maybe he doesn't draw something, but he tells her a design or rising sun or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something there, a flying
Well,
bird.
if she sees their mark on them at some point, then she would know it.
If that's the mark. What they have on them is half the mark, and you have to finish the mark. Like in old Christianity, if someone were to draw an arch like this, and if you knew what that was, you drew the another arch different, and it drew the fish, and then you're a Christian, you can be trusted. That's how the fish came about.
Really?
So you draw this arc, and just when you're talking to someone, if they draw the other part, then you're like, okay, we can talk openly about Christianity. So it could be half a mark, and then they finish the other mark, and you go, you can be trusted. You're okay. Could be a secret society, or maybe not a society, but just a band of robbers that have secret signs.
I like that.
Would there be any magic in this group, or is this group so abhorred about the magic? They just like, no, we're so against it.
I mean, most general populace is against it, but among criminals, I would think the use of soul binding magic to be a little, like, their restrictions against it would probably be looser.
Well, if Warren is
but it still requires the energy of a soul, whether it's your own or someone that you.
Well, if Warren is wanting the fulcrum for that, you'd have to think he's open to magic.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the possibility of, or no, I don't want him to be a soul binder. I don't want him to be a magic.
He just wants to use magic for his purpose.
Yeah, and the fulcrum is a way to able to have a non-soul binder use magic using the soul that's in there. And then King Kethel's enchanted sword, I mean, you don't need to be a soul binder to use that.
But the fulcrum is that missing piece that he definitely needs, right? I need this fulcrum to fulfill my plan. I need it.
Yeah.
And I can't initiate the plan without it, but we can keep moving towards it with other things. But before we go, I need that fulcrum. He's going to keep looking for
I mean, he would be able to initiate it because he needs to. Because after he initiates it is when he finds Daria with it.
Okay.
He can't.
So he finally just says,
he can start it, but he can't finish his plan without it. It's best to have all the pieces first.
But this whole time, he suspects Daria. He's going to be hounding her a little bit, or stalking her, going through her stuff. Like I said, maybe trying to watch her undress. Uh, all these things because he thinks she has it somewhere. Did she hide it? I mean, you would think if it was a necklace, you would think, hey, is she wearing it? I mean,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. Does Daria put it somewhere? Does she put it in part of her clothes and pocket, or a secret place?
And her bra.
Bra, panties. I don't know. I don't know what they have for.
I mean, they had underwear. They had basic, underclothes and the like.
I mean, if this old man said, "Don't let this guy have it," I don't think the last thing she would do is just wear it around her neck, right?
Probably not. I mean, she might have it around her neck for a while, but then, once Terry, known as Warren, or Warren, known as Terry, starts, like,
Peeking at her
and stuff, maybe she's like, I'm gonna not wear this around my neck now. I'm gonna start hiding it on me.
Yeah. I think that would be a good plan.
Maybe she decides, I'm gonna take it off and put it somewhere, and then she catches him rifling around her stuff. She's like, freak, I can't have him find it. He's rifling through my stuff now, and then she decides to put it back on her person.
She has to find a cool spot to hide it. There's got to be a cool spot that a reader would go, wow, that's pretty cool. She's smart. She's not gonna be just loosely trying to hide it.
She hides it in a chair leg.
Yeah.
Or something, I don't know.
Something that is going to be interesting and showing some cunning strategy. And the whole time she has no idea why she can't let this person have it or anybody else have it. She just knows that
this old man died, right? And his last words was telling,
you can't trust this person. Do not let them have it. I mean, this brief encounter, the old man maybe could tell her, if anyone gets this, the king is dead. Something that she's like, I have to keep it. I mean,
that could other than just don't let him have it.
Yeah. If this
tell
falls
her
in
what
wrong hands, the
happens.
king is dead, and you're like, whoa. And so that way, it really imprints on her. I can't let anyone have this. And if Warren's ripping through my stuff, that's like, or Terry.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't trust you.
And then if you start sneaking out and stuff, then because I don't feel an assassin would make his plans known for the rumors to be that the king's life is in danger. That only increases security, and unless you're gonna try to sneak someone onto security, you don't want that.
Yeah, but the old man would know.
Yeah. The old man was hiding it from Warren for a long time, but then Daria came around and he's like, I can't have this anymore.
Yeah.
It's a hot potato, and it's been in my hands for a very long time.
Yeah. Maybe he was a sorcerer, right?
Yeah, he was a soulbinder.
What if there was some spell that hid that from Warren finding it, even though he was wearing it and you couldn't see it, or
It's quite possible.
some type of cloaking spell or something that you could see it.
That explains why Warren was with him for so long but couldn't find it.
Yeah. So there could be a lot of things that Terry could be doing while they're just at the fort. There's a lot of different ideas.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of cool about us talking about this stuff. Just bringing up ideas.
Yeah.
Exploring different things. making your mind go in different directions. Some of this may not even work or be in the book, but it may help us think differently.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to re-listen to this and write these down and explore them. And maybe from these I'll figure out the right answer for Warren to do.
Well, anyway, I don't know anything else. Do you?
Let's talk about. We've talked a whole lot about lies recently. In Lost Lake, what? I mean, you have that much more developed and rewritten and stuff. What are the antagonists doing while your protagonists are doing their thing?
Okay, so at the very beginning, for chapter 1,
well, throw us in the middle. We don't need to go through the whole book.
Well, no, I'm just saying the antagonist is introduced or foreshadowed of being the villain.
But he's more one that pulls things behind the. He's more of a string puller than actually there in the fight, right? I mean, the main the main acting antagonist is Maury Ankermer. I forget which one.
No, I'm talking about Donald Tillman.
I know.
Okay. His whole motivation is he's been told that in his coal mine there is a cavern of diamonds, but he doesn't know where it is. He can't find it, and there's others that say, well, we know where it is. If you do what we tell you, we're going to let you have all the diamonds, but you need to do this for us first. So that is his motivation at the beginning of the book. The reader doesn't know that. Donald Tillman has a lot of power in the town. Basically, cops are on his payroll. Judges are on his payroll. He basically does whatever he wants. Then you have the antagonist in the lake. His name is Mahanrai Maury Ankermer. What they are doing this whole time, what their motivation is, they have radiation from a meteor that they were trying to bring to Earth that was shattered. And some of it went into the lake, some of it went outside the lake. If they are able to collect all these pieces of the meteor, they're going to be able to fulfill their plan. Their plan is to use this radiation to infect all the insects on the planet, control them, and be able to take over. Because if you think, well, these little insects...
Yeah, but for each person, there's estimated 200 million insects.
Per person.
So if you're able to control them wholly, you only need, say, 10,000 to just choke somebody.
Yeah.
And to just, you're like, it's suicide bomb yourselves and just kill this person.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
And so that is what they're doing. But there are, my protagonist in the lake is the one that crashed the ship and caused the meteor to explode and shatter. And he is with others protecting the lake, making sure they don't escape. And that is the whole thing that they're trying to do, protect. And then they involve 2 humans to help with them.
Okay, so during the main story, what are the villains doing? That's what I asked in the first place.
Okay, so the villains were trapped, supposedly forever. Never going to be able to escape the lake. Everything's safe. So, but they do find a way, and they escape. And what they are trying to do is get this charm that was made to give a human powers to, as a human and not an insect.
It gives them
your
some
potential
of their magic.
is so much stronger than them, and you can do so much more because humans are very incredible things and people. And so this charm was kept far away from this lake for a long time and hidden. But then the protagonist is given this in a very interesting and intriguing way, and it's told kind of like in Lies. Once I give this to you, they will know you have it, and they will try to get it. You can't let them have it, no matter what. And so his whole mission is to keep this safe. And during that same time, he's been charged with keeping his brother safe. And this is kind of a hard task for him to be going through this, losing his dad.
So let me ask the question again. While the story is happening, what are the villains doing?
Well, okay.
Protagonist goes in the lake. What are the villains doing? While the main protagonist meets people and he does his little training thing, what are the villains doing? That is what I'm asking.
They are stealthily escaping from the lake little by little and trying to get this charm. Their whole goal is to take over, and this is what they're trying to do. If they can get this charm, and they can give it to another human and control them, they will have enough power to just totally escape from the lake. And
they need a human under their influence.
Right. They don't have the charm though. They have little things that can help humans do
some things,
but the charm is what is really needed to really take over. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get this. They try to get at it different ways. Get it through Ethan's brothers. They try to go at them, and then use them to get this charm, and eventually they get it. And you're going, oh my goodness, they have it. Well, what are we going to do? They have a human. They have the charm. The whole plan's gone. So that's really what they're after. That's what they're trying to do: is escape the lake, get all the meteor pieces, take over the world.
Okay. I guess some of that backstory you're saying was you need to talk about the charm and stuff.
Right.
You were just going off on everything that's happening. Wait, hold on.
Yeah. So that's what the whole thing is. But they're still kind of trapped, but they can get out little by little. And the other good insects that are protecting the lake know it, but they're not able to really stop it. They don't know what to do, so they're going to call this other human that had worked with them before to help. But the problem is he's old and crippled.
Right.
And so that is another weakness that needs to be overcome. So there's a lot of things going on that the protagonist has to overcome and figure out, while the antagonists are continually moving, and their plan is working. They're evolving. It's coming about.
Yeah.
And Ethan is the only thing that could stop them if he can. And so, as they're going on with their plan, that they want Ethan gone. They don't want him around.
Yeah.
There's something
main
about
character of the book is named Ethan.
Yeah, there's something about him.
Not me, but
there's something about him that they don't want around. If he's dead, then they're fine to take over.
Right. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about one story that was a lot more developed than mine, and what you did with what the villains are doing the whole time.
So I mean, what they're also doing experiments with the different radiation from this meteor, the pieces they have, on other animals or fish or other things, creatures in the lake, trying to develop different not creatures, but
like that one crab that you have.
Yeah.
So this crab character that is this psychopathic, murderous thing.
And he's kind of a chameleon. He can make
He's
different
a
colors.
crab with chameleon powers.
Yeah, and just a dastardly, evil, psychopathic crab that does whatever you tell him to do as long as it's killing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And and there's another thing
that there's spines as my claws go click clack.
So the protagonist characters in the lake have a secret place that the antagonistic insects can't find. They can't get there. It's protected. If they can get in there and they take over them, then it's all over too. Then they're able to get up to the lake. But Ethan is the last piece of the puzzle. If they can take care of the lake, that's what their plan is. They use the crab to kind of figure out how to do that. At the same time, if we can do all that, we still have Ethan to contend with. We got to get rid of Ethan.
Because a human with the charm is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they have to get rid of him. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So
that's how that's going.
Yep. And there is betrayal. There is reconciliation. There is action. There's fear. There's conflict. And finally, there's going to be resolution. Great things for stories.
Woo!
Yep.
All right, I think that's long enough for tonight.
Probably.
Tune in next Tuesday.
Yep.
For the next podcast of Chronicle Thread. Figured out only recently that we're going to start posting on Tuesdays.
Yep. Every Tuesday, there'll be another post.
But if you've been watching these from the beginning, you've been hearing my voice saying, talking about coming in Tuesday. But let me tell you that it was only recently, as of today, we've been backlogging these a little bit. But yeah.
every Tuesday, come on board. Let's do this again. Till then, I'm Shawn Stanley signing off.
I'm Ethan Stanley. Have a good night. How to turn this off again? Right.